tries to...
What's wrong with that wall over there?
The frame is still there.
Yeah, thanks. Just trying to see how sharp you drew it. We should be. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayana
Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudire. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God. Unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Agasya, the author. Nashtaprayeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by regular instruction which the devotee, all the resources of the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise the transcendental songs is established as a irrevocable fact. Om Maya Nidamnasya Jnanam Shalakaya Chashurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Paul, would you like a chair? Would you like a chair?
No, we wouldn't. That's Maharaj.
All right. Today we're looking at Canto 5,
Chapter 16,
Chapter 16.
verse 3.
16 verse 3. Is there any way we can know when Maharaj is leaving? Like we want to say goodbye to him. You know, if he could make himself known. Like, I know it's 8th or something like that. Wouldn't that be nice if we could all say goodbye before saying hello? Okay. And 16, and what's the slope again?
Verse 3.
3.
Yes, Maharaj.
The description of Jambudvi. Sounds juicy. Okay, Hare Krishna. So the verse is very irregular in meter. So we'll just get right to the word by word, okay? Let's do it together. Bhagavataha,
Bhagavataha,
Supreme Personality of God,
Gunamai into the external features
consisting of 3 modes of material nature: Stula Rupa, the gross form; Avishita, entire; Manaha, the mind; I, indeed; Agune, transcendental; Api, although; Shukshmati, in his smaller form as Paramatma within the heart; Atma Jyotishi, who is full of Brahma privileges; Pare, the supreme; Brahmani, the spiritual entity;
Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead; Vasudeva, known as
Vasudeva; Kshaman, suitable; Avisisham, to also; Tat, that;
Yuva, indeed;
Iritat, this; Guru, O my dear spiritual master; Karansi, Anuvardhanitam, please describe factually, Yeti, thus.
Translation. When the mind is fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead and in external feature of the material modes of nature, the gross universal form, it is brought to the platform of pure goodness. In that transcendental position, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who in his subtler form is self-effulgent and beyond the modes of nature. O my Lord, please describe vividly how that form, which covers the entire universe, is perceived. Is that okay? We absorbed it? Okay, purport by Chris, D.C. Bhakti, Swami Prabhupada.
Yeah, Prabhupada.
Not to be seen, but to be understood. Okay. Maharaj Parikshit had already been advised by his spiritual master, Shukadeva Goswami, to
Think.
think of the universal
Form.
of the Lord. And therefore, following the advice of his spiritual master, he continuously thought of that form. The universal form is certainly material. But because everything is an expansion of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, ultimately nothing is
Material.
Therefore, Parikshit Maharaj's mind was saturated with spiritual
Knowledge.
Illusion.
Consciousness.
Consciousness thing. Srila Rupa Goswami has stated, Prapanchakatya Bhutya Harisambhati Vastunaha Mumukshvi Prityago Vairagyam Phalguru Yate. Every
One. Thing.
thing, even that which is
Material.
is connected with the Supreme
Personality
Personality
of Godhead.
Therefore, every
Thing.
should be
Engaged.
engaged in the service of the Lord. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur translates this verse as follows. Hari Sevaya Yahahaya Anukula Vishaya Balya Tahara Tyagi Hayabula. One should not give up any
Thing.
Engage.
connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Mind.
Think.
Think.
Thoughts.
thinking it material or enjoyable for the material
Sense gratification.
Senses.
even the senses when
Observe.
purified are spiritual. When Maharaj Parikshit was
Thinking.
of the universal
Form.
of the Lord, his
Mind.
was certainly situated on the transcendental.
Dental. Platform.
Therefore, although he might not have had any reason to be concerned with the
But the only
Tail.
information of the universe, he was
Thinking.
thinking of it in relation
Ship.
with the Supreme Lord. And therefore such geographical knowledge was not material but transcendental. Elsewhere in the
Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad
Srimad Bhagavatam, in the wrong class. 1:5:20.
Narad.
Narad had said, Inam, Ivishvam, Bhagavan, Iditaraha. The entire universe is also the Supreme Personality of God, although it appears different from him. Therefore, although Parikshit Maharaj had no need for geographical knowledge of this
World.
universe, I think this is the world and this
Is the universe.
That knowledge was also spiritual and transcendental because he was thinking of the entire universe as an expansion of the
Force.
energy of the Lord. Thank you. Without looking here. Okay. In our preaching also, we deal with so much property and
Money.
and so many
Thing. Books.
books bought and
Sold. But.
because these dealings all pertain to the
Krishna. Consciousness.
Movement.
they should
Not.
Never.
be considered.
Material.
That one is absorbed in thoughts of such management does not mean that he is outside of Krishna consciousness. If one rigidly observes the regular principle of chanting 16 rounds of of the
Mahamantra
every
day,
his dealings with the material world for the sake of
spreading
the, the
Krishna consciousness movement.
are not different from the spiritual cultivation of.
Krishna consciousness movement.
Thank you, everyone. This is a good one. Yep. So we're talking here about concentration on our focus and meditation on different aspects of the Lord. There is Brahman, or the Brahmajyoti, which is sometimes contemplated on by yogis. And there's also contemplation on Viviratu, the universal form of the Lord. And the universal form of the Lord is described in chapter 11 from Bhagavad Gita. Most of you have read that part, and it is very compelling. It is very interesting and very impactful. So impactful was it that Arjuna was initially he was awestruck, then later he got fearful. He just backed off, and then he said, "Please, can you chill? My dear Lord, I can't take this," because it was very horrific. And he was seeing into the future. He was seeing that not only the Kauravas were entering into this gigantic jaws, but also his own people. So if you can appreciate that, let's say, prediction as being something that is very unpalatable, then we can understand Arjuna's, emotions, his feelings. What time is Maharaj?
He's gonna.
He's going to leave at 8:30.
8:30.
Yeah, he's going to come to the class.
So we'll finish. Great. So now, I think the major point that's made here, that sometimes we take this universal form and we consider it a material object because it's here today, gone tomorrow. It's like most of the stuff on these gadgets, you see an image and you just go like, it's gone! And then it might come back and you might lose it forever. I know some devotees that I've traveled with, they sacrificed and surrendered their telephone to a river or a lake, just by accident. And then the whole thing is gone. Yes. So everybody remembers Chira. He had like $1,000 phone, and he kept it in his swimming trunks, and we were swimming down the Serpent River, and it just slipped out of his pocket, and we went back there and looked at the bottom of the lake, and it was gone forever. Okay, so whatever may come and whatever may go is generally permanent. I mean, let's try to dwell on that just a little bit. Bhuta grama evayam, bhutva bhutva praliyate. From the Bhagavad Gita, you can check it out. Bhutva grama evayam, bhuta grama evayam. That's referring to the living entities coming in this world. They're unwinded, and then at some point they're wound up again. Like, has anybody ever had a yo-yo before? Yo-yo. They're kind of fun, right? Or have you ever seen a spider before?
Yes.
And he does this web thing, like say I'm talking to Raj here, for instance, and we're talking, suddenly, in the middle of us comes the spider. Have you ever had that experience before?
Yes.
No, just, and of course, if you get really close to it, and they go, ooh, they'll gobble it all up again, like some magician disappear. So even though it appears that we disappear, that we're one of the Buddhas, we're one of the living entities that's manifest as a spirit, but the spirit is not destroyed by any weapon. The spirit or the soul is not destroyed by what examples are given by Krishna and Chandra.
Burned by fire.
By fire, not destroyed by fire, what else?
By wind,
By wind,
Yeah, by water.
water, or What do we do in the kitchen?
Cut.
Cut, yeah. The soul cannot be destroyed, but it can appear to be gone. It can, from this physical world, but it's always there, at least in a seedling form, it's always there. And we gave some physical examples of what we've seen in our own life, but it's the Lord who breathes out the world, and with it comes many living entities that inhabit the world. And at some point, after annihilation, first there's creation, then there's maintenance, and then there's annihilation. It's all wound up again into his divine body. That's the way it is. Oh, by the way, so the Lord gives birth. It's the one case where a male gives birth to a female. So has science proof otherwise? So God is pregnant with all of us. Have you ever thought about that? God is pregnant with all of us. And who impregnated himself? And so that's the way it is. And of course we're talking about living entities that are destined to be in this physical world. The Jiva Mukta, the liberated souls, are not in that situation. They don't manifest in this world. They don't have any interest in being here. Why? Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. It's pretty miserable. Not a day like today, it's quite nice. But there's, sorry to hit the river with California. California weather is pretty moderate, it's pretty nice. But it does get a little bit dry. There's lots of fires and all that kind of stuff, right? If it wasn't for the Colorado River, you guys would be dead. Something like that. Okay, so no perfect place. I was in Hawaii a few months ago. It's supposed to be perfect. It's perfect. Whether it's like moderate all the time, but as I mentioned to you before, I miss my squirrels and skunks and the raccoons and moose and bears, and you don't have any of those things there. So nothing's perfect in this world. Nothing is perfect. And but we do come into this world of imperfection and we try it out. We check it out. Somewhere in our little mind says, check it out, man. And so we come here and we try it out through different species. The body of feathers, the body of scales, the body of skin like a worm, the body with hairs or fur, thick fur. And I think I've covered everything. But we just try every, let's say, coat that's on the market. The Hudson Bay Company, because they're giving up on selling furs long ago. Even though that's the way they started. Okay, so you try everything, you do, but you're never satisfied, and so we come back and try something else, and something new. Right? We live in a shopping culture, by the way, isn't it? People live to shop. And at Costco, oh, what a great place. You can buy everything wholesale. It's even better than Walmart. The first time I was 2004 and I traveled with a youth bus tour. And I don't shop, I'm just a monk, I don't shop. I didn't even know what Walmart was. And the bus stop, and then Maharaj who heads up the whole group. Okay, we're here at Walmart. Walmart! Oh! What's Walmart? And the answer is, it's a big square box with lots of shelves, and everything on them is made of plastic and made in China. Okay? Yeah. So people just love shopping. They just adore it. It's like it's the popular pastime. There's some or other, if you go out of the store, out of the box with something in your hand, under your arms, in a bag or in a cart, you feel buckshot. But it really isn't like that at all. Everyone knows that the material world has something, offers pleasure, which has a beginning and which has an end. Okay. So let's get back to the theme of what is spiritual and what is material. Frankly, there's nothing that's material. And Prabhupada specifically says this, it'll stick in my mind forever. I was doing Sankirtan with some devotees in Timmins, Ontario, in the dead of winter. And I remember driving by, they had a car on the ice on a lake, and you're supposed to guess when the car will sink to the bottom, like when it gets, the ice gets thin enough, when and it thaws out, when will the car come down, and you get a big prize if you guess the right date. You submit your date. Isn't that a funny thing? Funny or sad, putting a car at the bottom of the lake. I mean, it wasn't the most prized car. That's just a game. I get radios to raise money. I don't know. So at that time, I remember staying in a motel and listening to Prabhupada on a tape recorder. I don't know if you know what that is. A tape recorder, because I'm old, right? And he said, in a higher sense, everything is spiritual. Okay? So do you get what we're trying to say here? Krishna makes a point of it in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. I'm here, but I'm not here. Okay? I'm in the physical world, but I'm not there. He's in the world as energy, but he is the energetic ultimately. And we can also say the energy and the energetic are one. We saw, how many people saw the sun this morning? All you lucky people were out in the Chappawa. And all of those who were not lucky, you didn't see it. Too bad. Okay. So anyways, the sun was streaking through, and that sun offers a warmth, just like the sun does. So the energy and the energetic are one. However, they are also different. Now you might be familiar with this philosophy propounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Achinchya-Veda Veda Tattva. The rock band Kula Shekhar sings it. Have you ever heard them before? You can look at it. Achinchya-Veda Veda Tattva. That means inconceivably, simultaneously one but different. Okay, this concept is easy to understand. Let's say, for instance, we are all in this room, we're individuals, but we're one as a group. We're a group, we're called Bhakti Academy, and a few friends at Bhakti Academy, right? So that's what we are. We are a group. A man and a woman, they are individuals, they come together, they're a couple, and they feel a sense of oneness. A lot of times it's not oneness. You tell me, if they argue back and forth, couples do that. Have you ever noticed that before? Okay. All right, just giving you a warning sign. But there is a oneness and also a difference simultaneously. The example that is given is a green bird, like a Vrindavan, they have those green parrots, and they fly, and they enter into green tree. Trees are green. And so they become one with, okay, in color. They're camouflaged, but they are different. And so this is another example. Or you take a drop of water. This is water here, by the way. You all know it. It's kind of delivered every morning. And but it's a cup of water, and it's made up of many drops. So one drop has the quality of let's say, collective water, but it's one but different. One but different. But so that's the way it is in this world. That's our experience. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was Nimai, he did something that was an incredible lesson given to all of us and to his mother, Sachi. He went to a particular place, much like Krishna did, and ate dirt. He started to eat some mud, And Mahaprabhu comes from a place where there's lots of mud. It's Bangla. It's a Bangla world. It's a place of mud where they make drums out of mud, Mridanga. Right? It's the silt, or like the delta of the Ganga. That's the Bengal world, of course. Same area. And so, it's very fertile land. I mean, the subjects in Bengal, oh my God, they're to die for. There's probably a little arson in there, but anyways, Haribol, hallelujah, age of Kali, what do you want? So anyways, Blue Nimai, he was eating some dirt, and sitting in an area where there was terracotta pots. They were sort of rejected, and they were tossed in one area. You know, terracotta, it's like clay. Have you ever drank out of those clay things in Mysore? And you drink out of a cup, and then your lips stick to the porous. You ever seen that? Oh my God, can I get some? It's like Velcro. Oh my God, you know. So this is the situation, and his mother found out about it and said, "What are you doing there?" He said, "I'm eating some dirt here." He said, "Well, isn't I think that's not appropriate, you know?" And he said, "Well, you know, I mean, you feed me dirt all the time." I said, "What are you talking about? You feed me, everything's a transformation of dirt." And that's true, even these bodies are made up of dirt, partially. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Are you leaving us now?
8:30.
Oh, I see, 3:30. Are you okay? Yes. Thank you. So everything's a transformation of dirt. That was his conclusion. So what's the difference, you know? I have a banana. He didn't use this argument, but it was basically, it's paraphrased. I have a banana, and that's a transformation of dirt, you know, or a subji, or anything like that. It's all dirt transformed. So what's the difference, you know? It's all one, he was saying. And so his mother had a moment of correction for him, and she said, "Well, do consider this, that in a pot made of clay or dirt, you can carry water, but you can't just carry water with mud. You know, you can't. The water can't be contained in it. You know? So she was just trying to present to him a young boy who eventually became a pundit. Maharaj was talking about how you know, he was a grammarian. He had, you know, Nimai had lots of students when he was quite young. He was like a child prodigy, you can say. He was considered like that. And he's very, very intelligent, super intelligent, almost too much. And but his mother taught him this philosophy of this tattva, this truth of Pachincha Veda tattva. Yes, everything is made up of dirt, but you also have to see the distinction at the same time. So this is what is being presented here by Srila Prabhupada. While things are physical and material, like this thing here, this mug is also a transformation of Krishna, or it's Krishna's energy. The energy and the energetic are one. So this is what Prabhupada is zeroing in on here, is that everything is one, but also different simultaneously. It is the, let's say, the ultimate in truth, philosophical understanding. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had predecessors who taught different truths, like Ramanujacharya, and of course there was Shankaracharya. Buddha came and he talked about oneness in a kind of sort of oneness. Shankaracharya and came along and in a Vedic way tried to describe the Vedas. Ramanuja refined it, and finally it came down to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who brought it to a more practical understanding of this tattva, this truth. Everything simultaneously one, but different. So the distinction is important. Okay, I'll tell you my story. I was in Ohio, and I was walking. It was the American walk that I did. And Uttamananda, everybody knows Uttamananda. He was walking with me at the time. And it was a nice Sunday morning, and we were by Lake Erie, and the sun was coming that I've never seen such a beautiful sunrise in my life as that particular morning. So there was one guy who pulled over, and he saw us, and because we were dressed in a devotional way, he pulled over and he said, excuse me, but do you speak English? He asked me, and I said, yes, I do. He was the one with the accent, by the way. And I was like, yeah, we speak English here. Said, well, I just have something to offer you. And it was a small booklet, the First Testament, the New Testament, actually, the New Testament, which is to do with Jesus and from there on, not before his time. And I said, oh, thank you very much. Actually, I have a copy. I actually have a copy with me in my bag, which is in our vehicle. So I want you to save it and give it to somebody else. And so we started to compare notes. So you were, we're Krishna followers. And, you know, and so you're a Christian. That's very obvious. I mean, Krishna, but a Christian almost sounds the same. You know, Prabhupada said that once too. When he was in Australia, he said, Christian, Krishna. It's almost the same. So I was saying there are some differences between the two traditions, because I was raised Christian, I told him, but there's a lot more similarities. So then he went on, he said, yeah, but the differences are very important. You know, he got like with pointing fingers, you know. First he was like Mr. Sweetie Pie, and then he turned to like a you know, one of those pies where you fill it up with foam and you so he changed, you know, just in a matter of seconds. And then he said, but there's lots of differences. And then he started to say something about Vishnu, so you could see he had some background understanding. He got kind of offensive. And I challenged him and said, Stephen, it's the similarities that are important. And he didn't accept that. And I leaned over outside on his window and said, sir, our conversation is over. I hope you enjoy meditating on the wall that you created between us. Have a nice day. Personally, I can't tolerate these people that blaspheme. You know, I just can't handle them. If you want to get me angry, blaspheme Krishna consciousness. So you can try me out anytime. I don't have much tolerance for these kind of people, so I did walk away and with a huff and a puff when I sort of blew his ego down for a second or so. But I think he had it coming to him. So the idea of looking at different truths or faiths, different approaches to God, they all are the same. They invoke a kind of awe and reverence, right? A kind of a feeling that I'm small and you're big. If your religion allows you to do that, that's great. If you have a religion that says, don't worry about that. God is not big. God is you, and you are him, or her, or whatever, you know. So there's some problems with that right there. And I think I told you this before. There was this, this priest. He said, now I've been with the ministry for 40 years. And after all these years, I've learned two things that are very, profound for me. And that is, number one, there is a God. And number two, it's not me. So, we have to make distinctions. And if there is a faith that does that for you, that cultivates your love for the Lord, even Prabhupada said that, then that is something that's to be valued. And so there are lots of traditions that encourage love. There are some traditions that encourage fear. And yes, we should fear. There should be healthy fear, but not that should occupy our lives. I mean, my experience is that people who fear, they're in raised in a culture of fear. They hate. They also hate. They're like brothers, you know, kind of like bad brothers, you know. Hate and fear together. You know, there's got to be love, got to be appreciation. So we're going to wrap it up here just by mentioning these things. I think this is one of the most valuable aspects of our culture that we can embrace. And when I first read the Bhagavad Gita, I got a kid home for me. Prabhupada kept saying impersonalism. And being raised a Christian, I never heard of anybody saying that you are God and I'm God, we're all God. But I had a classmate who was an art student, and he was talking like that. And I just, are you kidding me? So, in fact, the base line of Christianity is very bhakti oriented, just to let you know. It is very bhakti. I mean, Jesus is talking about loving the Heavenly Father and giving up everything unto Him, those kind of things. There's a lot of similarities there. A lot more similar than differences, okay? And whatever happened in history, in the biblical teachings, taking any references to reincarnation, all that, those were bad moves, bad decisions, but otherwise we a lot closer together. Now, there have been surveys done, and I'm talking more about the Christian community or the Jewish community, and a lot of people believe in transmigration of the soul. They believe it. So we are, in one way, all kind of coming together. There is a sense of oneness shaping up. The one thing that really makes it difficult for us and other groups and for us to all bond together, it's people get hung up on dogma. And they get hung up on, well, our books say something slightly different. We say something different, so therefore we cannot talk to each other. So those are unfortunate circumstances. So we really need to see how we can, drive at the point of similarities. That's so important. If you can do that with the people you meet out on the street, that's great. So we are at that point now where it's time for questions and answers. And I went a little overboard by about 2 minutes. My apologies to you. So let's go for, if you want, we know who here loves to ask questions.
I'm Tridesh.
Yes.
Maharaj, the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, everything is dirt, everything is transformation of dirt. The same way people say today, God is everywhere and we do good karma, we don't have to go to temple, we're chanting and all. We believe that God exists in good karma and God is in our heart. We don't have to go to a specific place, read books and chant. What would you say about that?
Well, I'd say about that, yes, God is everywhere. You can honor God anywhere. In the forest, in the desert, in the middle of the ocean. God is everywhere for sure. No problem, but we should try to understand what the temple is for. The temple is the place where people collect together, where you get sangha, you get a special reinforcement. And our philosophy says that in order for you to spiritually grow, you need that sangha. Sangha is key to success on the spiritual platform. So, deities are in the temple. We have prasadam, which is holy. We have the books, which are holy. So there's a certain concentration in the temples that's holy. And so, if God is everywhere, then why don't you go to the temple then? Prabhupada uses that argument too about deities. So God is not in that deity. Well, excuse me, but is God everywhere? So yes, God is everywhere. Well, why is He not in the deity then? Right? Why are you saying there's an absentee God there? So it's it's an argument. But, think about it. Before you joined Bhakti Academy, what was your life like? It was kind of mundane, a little bit bland, there's no spice,
Nobody to talk to, no probably to learn from.
Yeah, right. So we've got this building, and it's like a little bit of a nest, where we're all just, taking things. We're like those little birds with their mouths wide open, and the word might come, Mama and Papa will you're with your brother, your siblings, and you benefit from each other's sangha, and that's why it's important to be at the temple. It's a collective place where everyone praises the Lord, right? They do collectively, so there's special power. Have you ever heard of a kirtan by yourself? Has anybody ever done a kirtan by themselves?
Kirtan means is more than.
Yeah, that's right. And Sankirtan in particular means a collective group of people glorifying Krishna. Satatan Kirti Andalam, it's in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. Always glorifying the Lord. So there is something to be had about the places of pilgrimage where people come. You could talk to some indigenous person and we say, we're going to take that burial ground, it's all just dirt, of your ancestor. We'll plow it over and we'll put some high rise. I'll give you some money for it, no problem. You know what they say? Go to hell. Because it's sacred, there's the concentration of their people there. So it's not just an ordinary, place of soil. It represents something. So it's very sacred and very concentrated. So the temple is like, like gur, like jaggery. It's concentrated sweetness. Do you like that analogy?
Like
It's crystallized, it's concentrated bhakti. Of course, if some of the people who come are not behaving properly, it's a very clear display of kanishta bhakti, then there's some issues or some problems. But there should be enough strong individuals, people spiritually strong, that can help to overcome the neophyte characteristic of some places.
maybe the association can.
Not can, will, must. Okay. Okay, so will you come to the temple now?
Yes.
Okay, it's just upstairs. And by the way, we're here at the feet of the Lord, downtown this area here. And the feet are also special for us, for neophytes. So we're supposed to talk about concentration. You want to concentrate? Go to the concentrated area of Krishna's lotus feet, Gopinath's lotus feet. That's where you get some power. Right? And also the lotus feet of the devotee. Of course, everyone's got devotees and stars. I can't see any feet here too much. What's wrong, are you? Explanation wrong. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I hope that did somebody else have their hand up. The ground, the hand goes up, the hand goes down. Anything else? Prove that your head's in front of the clock. You look like the sun. Anything else? Okay, so then, it's a beautiful philosophy. Like if I say, listen, everything's pizza, just eat everything. It's all one, right? But when you see that pizza, and it's got the cheese on it, and it's got the red tomato, it's got the green peppers in it, and what else? Like olives?
Pineapple.
Pineapple. Italians won't agree with them, but I disagree with the Italians. I think pineapple is great. Anything else? Jalapeno.
Olives.
Banana.
Olives. What is it?
Banana.
concentrate on one person, you Prabhus are creating too much oneness here.
Odd banana peppers.
Odd banana pepper.
Hot.
Hot. Oh, I see. Oh,
Spinach.
Basil?
to each his own.
Pineapples.
Okay, so the point is that you will enjoy a pizza because it's, the focus was on making a preparation out of love, nourishment, So if we go with on the quality of, of this oneness idea, then we could just say, just look at his pizza, that's pizza. Everything is all one. It's kind of a ridiculous approach.
Maharaj, Krishna is Purush, and then we are also from Krishna. So the soul inside us is also Purush.
In Purush, depending on your meaning of it, like a person. Okay, so this is one of the things that we can draw from this verse here, okay? Anything that's coming from God is, powerful. Devi Shagunamani, Mama Maya Dada. That statement from Bhagavad Gita clearly says it. The energy of God is powerful. Why? Because it's coming from the energetic, the powerhouse. Krishna is the powerhouse. He is the powerhouse. And second part of the shloka is, but if you surrender to me, like directly, then that's even more powerful. Power is there, but power and more power. Or the most power. Okay? Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. This in regard to his question, I want to make one point. We have a temple in Durban. He went there, Maharaj, his temple. It's called the Temple of Understanding. So the reason why, because when we go to the temple, we get understanding.
Yeah.
The name itself is Temple of Understanding. So this is why we go to the temple, because we're not just looking for God. How do we get God? Only with the association of devotees. This is the reason that we have to go to the temple. Because one cannot achieve God alone. So we need the association. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Lava Mata, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha. So one can get the perfection, all perfection just by associating with devotees. So at home we don't get that association. God is there, but we will not perceive it.
It's like, it's like air, I think air is everywhere. But we feel air or air condition at the fan or at the AC. Same like if you come to temple, you feel God and
You feel God through the AC.
See,
You're right, there's an AC Bhakti Vedanta song.
Example. Air is everywhere. So the body is everywhere, right? But we feel the air or at the fan, so
Yeah, you feel some,
come to
in certain concentrated areas, you feel more. Yeah, very good, thank you very much. And, I remember I was at a religious function in Winnipeg, and we had people from different religious backgrounds there. Everyone spoke a little bit. When the local priest came on, he used the word understand. So think about that word understand. You stand under everything. And then you look up and you start to realize, I'm just pretty insignificant here. Because everything is so big to me. So that's how we will start to really become spiritual. The more insignificant we feel, the more humble we feel, the more, let's say, we'll grow spiritually. So I like that when you said that. Yeah, okay. So that's, I think we have the opportunity now. Maharaj, you're leaving at 8:30, right?
Yes.
So is it okay if we can stand under your lotus feet? I think it calls for it. It's 8:29 according to myself. We stick right to the, right, thanks for that. Then we have, Maharaj, I understand you're going for a month and then you'll
So I'll be back on 14th of June, working coming back to your state.
Oh, yeah, your place, it's possible to do it at the same time.
And then I'll be 1 month in Canada.
1 month again. So what do you say to that, Bruce? This is first day, we have to train him up. I know. So, thank you, Maharaj. Please accept our humble obeisances. Jai. Vancha.